I think I'm fine with admitting that I'm just not a good tech reviewer. Last week, in a rush to go to the CDBaby DIY Musician Conference, I realized that I really don't have a laptop that I can work on anymore. Before, I was working on a pretty high-powered Dell workstation, and then I learned about custom PC builds when I started video editing and realized that that workstation sucked, and then I built my own PC right here. So I haven't used a laptop since a long time ago when my needs were way different. I bought this $1,800 MSI gaming computer hoping that it would be able to edit 4K videos and transfer footage. You might notice that I haven't taken the plastic off of this, and that's for a reason. In this video, I'm going to talk about my experience using this computer, why I'm probably going to return it, and why I don't recommend that anyone use a laptop for high-powered creative work. Hot take, right? Let's get into it. The MSI Stealth GS65 is what I purchased. It is a high-powered 15.6-inch laptop. Comes with a 512 gigabyte solid-state drive, and it actually has a newer graphics card than the one I'm running in this custom PC. So this has a NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2060. RTX is like the new generation of GeForce GPUs, graphics processing units. So these help you with certain video effects. They help you play video games. If you have a high-powered graphics card, you can just run more screens, more pixels, push everything to its limits. It has 32 gigs of RAM, which is a lot of RAM. That's how much this Dell workstation had in it. And it's got an Intel Core i7 processor, which is the previous generation or two. We're now on i9, which is the type of processor that's in this computer right here. So all in all, this laptop should perform better than my old Dell workstation. I should be able to render videos. I should have no problem striking up Ableton Live. I should have no problem striking up Photoshop. I should have no problem transferring footage. But that's not what I experienced when I tried to use this laptop on the road. Number one, laptops suck, which is something I'll get more into later on. But in terms of trying to have a high creative output, doing it on a laptop just sucks. It's more expensive for less capability, and that's just an unpleasant experience. So already opening a laptop, I'm already probably not having a good time. But then when it came time for me to transfer footage from my SSD drive onto the SSD drive in this laptop, it was horrendously slow. Now I can reach up to like 400 megabits a second when I'm transferring footage from my existing SSD drive very, very fast. Not so much on this laptop. Furthermore, while I was transferring that footage, my computer pretty much froze up. I was not able to use Chrome web browser. I was not able to use like a lot of the other functions of the computer, which sucks because I have attention deficit hyperactive disorder, and it's very difficult for me to focus on one thing at a time, especially when that one thing is watching a green bar move across the screen as the footage transfers. So that was kind of a pain in the ass. Then when it came time to open up Premiere, the laptop was slow, noticeably slow. I mean, I can load up Premiere in probably like 5 seconds on this desktop computer. Still not too slow on that Dell workstation, but when it came time to use it on the laptop, it was very, very slow to start. Now, I will say that this computer had no problem installing stuff. The installs for like Premiere Pro, Photoshop, Adobe Audition, After Effects, it was all done in like a half hour. I didn't even have to pay attention to it. But I also wasn't using the laptop at the time. And then just the trackpad and the keyboard. It's just an unpleasant experience to do all of your work in this like cramped space where your fingers are all like this, and on a hotel bed, you're sitting there Indian style with your back hunched over and you're just getting like scoliosis as you do it. It just wasn't fun. I did have an external mouse, but once I connected that, once again, the laptop took a drop in performance, and I even saw this on my resource monitoring. And then to the editing experience. That actually wasn't the worst thing in the world. Playback of 4K videos in Avid Media format was great. No stuttering, no worries there. Obviously the speakers on this thing suck, but I don't know. I would have to say that there's gotta be some issue with just like the IO boards here. Like everything that's supposed to control the USB, like it's not particularly fast. It doesn't do so well when you throw multiple things at it. So I was transferring footage from one drive onto the computer, and then from one drive I had connected to the computer to another drive I had connected to the computer. None of that worked particularly well, and I wasn't even trying to edit off of the computer itself. I was using SSD drives drives over USB 3.0. There's just no reason why that should have been slow, but it was. As soon as I threw Lumetri color panel onto the 4K videos I was editing, as soon as I started color correcting, this thing grinded to a halt. But I wasn't fully opening up the pipes, right? I wasn't running Ableton Live with Photoshop and Premiere Pro, rendering while editing a video as well. These are all things that I regularly do on this workstation that this thing just probably could never, ever do. And I think it all comes down to size. This is a tiny little machine. This is very small. It houses a very, very high performance GPU, a pretty high performance processing unit, and 32 gigs of RAM. It's kind of unreasonable to expect the same performance from the same specs out of such a small case. I might as well just wait till I'm back at my workstation because I'm just going to spend 3 times as long fumbling around all these different applications, closing stuff to make it run smoother. I don't want to blame it on this laptop. I think if you're used to using a laptop for creative work, this is probably a great one. But this isn't really a review of this laptop, is it? This is a review of laptops for creative work in general. And that brings us to the main point of this video. I don't recommend that anyone who's doing serious creative work uses a laptop for a number of reasons. 1, price. 2, performance. 3, productivity. Let's start with the performance. You're probably not gonna get the same performance out of the exact same equipment when it's in that tiny little package. It's just damn near impossible, but furthermore, it's uncomfortable to work with. There's only so many I/O ports like USB and audio, and you can't really expand up those slots. So if I wanna throw like a crazy internal streaming card into this PC, like I can do that. Can't do that with a laptop. I have to buy the laptop that does that already. And that brings us to price. In order to get the crappier performance from the same specs in the small little bundle, I have to pay more. And you have to route everything so that it fits. You have to pay engineers to figure out how to route all these cables, use miniaturized components. It's a nightmare. You're gonna get shittier performance for a higher price no matter how you slice it out of a laptop. Don't even get me started on MacBooks. But the most important point is productivity. Look, you need to edit a video while you climb a mountain? Grow up! You don't edit videos while you climb mountains. You climb mountains and then you edit videos. Maybe if I traveled for like a year and I tried to edit videos that whole time, I would get used to it to a certain degree. But I'll never be as functional as day one behind this computer. With this computer, I frequently am producing in Ableton Live, switching over to Premiere Pro and editing a video, and sometimes working in After Effects and Photoshop at the same time, while Chrome with like 50 tabs is open. I can even live stream while I do all that in 4K. For a serious creative person like a digital creative, you can often get way more performance for the same amount of money or less by just going with a workstation. I don't understand how travel vloggers travel and edit or travel and film. You show up at the airport like 5 hours early or some shit just to get your B-roll. I mean, traveling is a nightmare. I don't know how people do it. But that said, if you want to travel, go travel. And when you want to create, have a badass workstation to create on. That's my recommendation. So hopefully if someone out there is thinking about like buying a laptop or a high-powered PC in order to accomplish video editing and music production and recording and graphics and audio editing and all that stuff, and then high-powered like business browser use, go with a workstation. Build your own PC. It's not that hard, and it's way preferable to any laptop that you're likely to get. Laptops suck. Like, I get the appeal when you're a kid, you don't do a whole lot of stuff. Like when I was a kid, like, oh man, maybe I'll use like PowerPoint or Acid Music Studio. And I often couldn't run Acid Music Studio on my laptops. But that said, like, that's the most I'd ever want to do at one time. Now, as an adult creative, like I'm in Ableton, Audition, Premiere Pro, After Effects, Mocha Effects, Photoshop, Chrome, Shift, Slack, just all these different websites and programs, and I can't afford to be bogged down. So I'm gonna be returning this MSI laptop today, and I'm probably just not gonna buy a laptop until the technology is way advanced. But I imagine by then we'll be editing like 16K videos, and like, yeah, just don't buy a laptop, guys. So yeah, I'm not a very good tech reviewer. I only use a certain number of things, and I'm not really good at talking about them unless I just don't like them and I can tell you why I don't like them. Sorry. My review of the GS65 Stealth is, for a laptop, great. Compared to my workstation, sucks. And I'm gonna return it. to Best Buy. Sorry, Best Buy. Didn't work out. Maybe I'll call this series Circa Returns Tech. It'll be all my negative reviews, because that's all I'm good for. I'll see you guys later. Like, subscribe, do the thing if you want to. You don't have to, but it would be tight. Peace out.
Mm-hmm.